Hi. You don't know me, but for the next few minutes, let's pretend that you do. Imagine that
we work together. We see each other almost every day. Good days, bad days. Maybe we're friends.
Maybe we just know each other. However it is, we're in this together. So we probably have at least a certain amount of respect for each other.
And that's what we want to talk about, the issue of respect. Respect is a very big word. Respect for the planet, respect for life. These are large and very important issues.
But for now, we're more interested in the smaller things, in the simple choices. Things we're faced with each day as we work together.
We want you to take an opinion poll with us. There are 7 questions. Each one is designed to survey your opinion on some particular aspect of respect at work.
You can use one of the survey sheets that came with this video, or just grab a piece of paper and number it from 1 to 7.
7 questions, all multiple choice. As you go through it, you will probably be able to pick out which choices are supposed to be the politically correct ones.
But forget about that. Just write down A, B, or C, depending on what you would do in a situation, or what you think about it.
When we're done, we'll go back over the questions and explore some of the possibilities behind each choice you made.
Okay, let's do it. Question number 1. If you arrive at work in a bad mood, do you A, try to avoid others, B, warn others to stay clear, or C, leave it at the door?
Question number 2. When offered a juicy bit of gossip at work, do you most often A, listen but keep it to yourself, B, get it all and pass it on, or C, refuse to hear it?
Question number 3. Do you do what you say you will do? Your choices are A, eventually, B, if it matters, or C, always.
Number 4. Complete this sentence. If what I say offends you, A, I'll wait until you're not around, B, I'm just being real, or C, I'll stop.
Question 5. What is the rule when it comes to sexual attraction at work? A, look but don't touch. B, look if they want you to. C, don't look, don't touch.
Number 6. Finish the sentence. Whoever said live and let live was A, sincere but naive, B, had no strong beliefs, or C, got it right.
And finally, number 7. Complete the sentence. Always using please and thank you at work is A, nice but impractical, B, annoying and fake, or C, common courtesy.
That's it. Simple. Before we go back over your choices, remember, your choices are nobody's business but yours. This survey is not about comparing right or wrong answers.
It's not about facts and figures. It's completely unscientific. This survey is about opinions and perceptions, because when it comes to respect, perception is reality. We'll talk more about that in a minute.
Right now, let's get started with your choices on question number 1, if you arrive at work in a bad mood. If you chose B, warn others to stay clear, congratulations. You're a very honest and upfront person. There's a lot to be said for what you see is what you get. At least we all know where you're coming from. And most of us understand everyone's going to have a few bad days.
On the other hand, a few bad days does not mean every other day. You need to respect the fact that we all have lives outside of work. And you probably don't have to look very far to find some people who face some real challenges in their private life. But that's personal and this is work. At work, we all get to start with a clean slate.
If you chose A, you try to avoid others when you're in a bad mood. You probably have the best intentions, not wanting to spread your troubles to your coworkers. But you might not realize what actually happens to others when you intentionally avoid them. First of all, they can tell you're avoiding them, and that can hurt. Since they don't know what they did to deserve it, they can end up resenting you when you never intended any disrespect toward them. But they can't read your mind. So they end up deciding what's real based only on how they perceive things. Their perception becomes their reality.
Or worse, since no one really knows what's going on with you, we're all tempted to guess. Sorry, but that's how rumors start. And isn't that just what you need when you're having a really lousy day, a bunch of rumors? So don't avoid people. If they ask, smile, tell them it's personal, and you'd really rather not talk about it now.
Over time, we each need to find a way to leave it at the door. That's choice C. Some people do it just by spending a few extra minutes in the parking lot before they come in. A friend of mine does a thing where she takes deep breaths like she's filling a balloon up with all of her troubles, then she just lets it go. Works for her.
Okay, question number 2. When offered a juicy bit of gossip at work, do you most often, if you chose B, get it all and pass it on? We're not even going to give you credit for being honest on that one. Even though, for some twisted reason, most of us love to hear gossip, it's the pass-it-on part of that answer that can cause very real pain. Most of us know the hurt of having something we shared in confidence be passed along casually by others. Gossip can tear a great team apart. It can ruin reputations. It can land you in court.
Harmless gossip. Those are two words that do not belong in the same sentence. If it was harmless, it wouldn't have to be whispered. And if it's gossip, it's spoken behind someone's back, and that's one of the most hurtful kinds of disrespect. If you chose A, you listen but keep it to yourself. That's pretty human. But remember, just by the act of listening, you encourage the person who's spreading the gossip. You end up being a part of it, like it or not. It takes some courage. But when it comes to gossip, the only real way to show respect for the people you work with is to respond with something like,
You know what? I would never listen to rumors about you, and this is none of my business either. We hope a lot of you chose C. You would refuse to hear it.
Question number 3 may sound like a very simple thing, but the issues around it are very large. The question was, do you do what you say you will do? Most of us have the best intentions at the time we promise to do something, but things change, our priorities shift, time flies, and doing what we promise can become a much bigger challenge than what we ever thought it would be.
While that may be true, this survey isn't about time management. It's about respect. You promised. People are counting on you. You need to get it done. Choice B, if it matters, is actually like saying, I'll do what I promised if the person I gave my word to matters. It's not showing much respect. Or choice A, eventually. That's better. Still, it's like saying, I'll do what I promised if I'm forced to, or if I'm nagged enough. Do you enjoy trying to force someone to do what they promised you? Or return what they borrowed? Or live up to their word? When it comes to respect, it's not the thought that counts. It's the doing.
If you were able to honestly choose C, you always do what you say you will, congratulations. That's not an easy thing to do, especially with a busy life. It may be obvious, but the secret to success here is not just about time management. It's also about promise management. Your word is all you have. It's precious, so don't give it out cheap. Stop and think hard before you promise. Then, live up to your word.
Our next question was about words as well. Number 4 asked you to finish this sentence. If what I say offends you, how we go about expressing ourselves at work is a tricky topic. On the one hand, as choice B suggests, we all want to just be real. No one wants to be phony. The language that we use, the opinions we express, they all come from our culture. They help define who we are. But on the other hand, when we all come to work, we create a new culture together. Swearing, bathroom humor, things that you might say without a second thought in your living room, some people may find completely offensive at work. Religious names used casually by some may be held sacred by others.
if you chose A, I'll wait until you're not around, that's a more respectful choice. But remember, that only takes care of the coworkers who let you know you've offended them. Others may say nothing, yet be very offended. So how can you know? You can't, for sure. And it's not about remembering a list of taboo words. It's more about what they told us all in grade school. Just act like ladies and gentlemen.
There's another age-old rule about polite dinner conversation that applies perfectly to work. Don't talk about sex, politics, or religion. Because these kinds of topics are so important and so personal to each of us, differences on these topics have the potential to offend us and divide us, and that's the opposite of teamwork. So save those kinds of topics, as well as expressive language, for some other time, outside of work.
But as long as we're already kind of talking about sex, let's do question 5. What is the rule when it comes to sexual attraction at work? If you chose A, look but don't touch, that's a very popular saying. But at work, it can get you in a lot of trouble. We communicate with our eyes as much as anything else. So looking, and I think you know what I mean by looking. Looking is like saying what you're thinking with your eyes. Now you can say nobody knows what I'm thinking, and you're right. But the law doesn't need to know. In fact, it doesn't even care what you were thinking. It only cares about what you did or said, and how that was perceived by the other person. Their perception can become the court's reality. But I didn't mean it doesn't count either. Harassment doesn't have to be intentional to be illegal.
By now, most of us know the most obvious forms of harassment, where someone uses work favors or work threats in order to get sexual favors from another person. That may be the most obvious form of harassment, but by far the most common is what the law calls creating a hostile work environment. That's where just looking comes in. Creating a hostile work environment covers all kinds of unwelcome behavior.
Things like staring or leering, making rude suggestions or gestures, even joking or teasing about sex. You may not even be aware you offended someone. You just put up a picture you thought was beautiful. Or you passed on a cartoon or an email you thought was funny. Hopefully, if it offends someone, they'll tell you directly and you can deal with it. But maybe they won't. Maybe they'll just tell a supervisor. And remember, the law doesn't care about your intention. It only cares about what you did and how it was understood by the other person. Their perception is reality.
The other person can be anybody. Men can harass men, women can harass women, anyone can harass anyone. It's the unwelcome behavior that counts, not the gender.
At this point, you could argue about what is or isn't welcome. If you pick choice B, look if they want you to, you could say someone that works hard to stay in shape or spends a lot of time and money making themselves visually attractive is doing just that. They're trying to attract. They are welcoming your look.
Well, it is true that we all like to look our best, men and women. And we may even want to attract someone, but it may not be you. So don't jump to conclusions. Is your attention actually welcomed or just tolerated? Is it rewarded? Do you get the same kind of attention in return? If not, stop. When in doubt, don't. Anything else is just distracting, it's disrespectful, and it can cost you your job. At work, the rule is keep your eyes on their eyes and your hands to yourself. Don't look, don't touch.
Okay, before we move on, I need to say one more thing about don't touch. Even though a handshake is officially the only completely appropriate kind of physical contact between coworkers, let's get real. Hopefully, as we work together, we become friends. And when it comes to physical contact, if we are friends, we're both responsible for establishing what is or isn't appropriate with us. All right, we're done with that one.
Number 6 asked you to complete the following sentence. Whoever said live and let live. Your choices were A, was sincere but naive, B, had no strong beliefs, or C, got it right. We're going to keep this simple. We hope you chose C. Just let people be. If you chose A or B, you're probably not alone. There are plenty of people who think it's their duty to change or even eliminate other viewpoints, religions, races, or lifestyles.
You have a right to that opinion in private, but you have no right to express it toward anyone at work. That can be perceived as creating a hostile work environment, and the law says that's harassment. Harassment isn't just about sex. It's about everything we've been talking about, from teasing to nicknames, from cartoons to rude remarks.
It can all be taken as harassment, whether it's about someone's race, their religion, their sexual choices, how old they are, or even their physical disabilities. The point is, harassing someone about any of these things is not only rude, it's illegal.
So just keep it to yourself. It's your opinion, it's your private life. It's their opinion, it's their private life. Respect the fact that you're different. Live and let live.
We hope you all work in a company that's free from harassment. But if you don't, or if you're having trouble with someone, don't put up with it. You need to make it clear that you don't like it.
If that doesn't work, don't keep it to yourself. We need to know what's going on with you so we can help you. Your company does not tolerate harassment in any form, and it forbids retaliation or payback against anyone who reports harassment or cooperates in an harassment investigation. So tell someone you trust. Talk to your supervisor. This isn't your problem to solve alone. It's our problem, because we're in this together.
On the surface, our final topic may seem less important, even trivial. Number 7 asks you to complete the sentence. Always using please and thank you at work is A, nice but impractical, B, annoying and fake, or C, common courtesy. Let's dive right in with choice B. If you actually find please and thank you annoying, I hope you're joking. If not, you may want to rethink the whole idea of working with other human beings.
If you chose A, nice but impractical, you're right. It's true. Saying please and thank you have nothing to do with practicality or efficiency or the chain of command. At times, it can even get in the way of those things. But it does have everything to do with productivity and teamwork and humanity.
Please and thank you is C, common courtesy. It's part of a whole list of things which you could call small kindnesses. They're the simple things, like making a habit of saying good morning and good night to every person you work with. Connecting like that each day can have a huge impact. Not only does it start your day and their day off right, but let's say you had a rough day and maybe it involves someone you work with. If you're committed to the habit of saying good night at the end of the day, it's like making peace with that person and starting over.
Small kindnesses are the completely impractical things we do for no other reason than we're in this together. That's why we take the time to ask, so how was your weekend? Or is your mom feeling better? Those kindnesses are the things that make work a lot less like work and a lot more like life.
Well, that's it. So where do we go from here? That's up to you. Look at the choices you made.
If your list is full of B's, you are either just having fun with this survey or you have a serious problem with showing respect.
If your list has mostly A's, then your heart's probably in the right place.
But your daily actions might eventually get you in trouble. Be careful.
We hope that most of you are looking at a lot of C's on your list. Those are the choices that most of us pick as the ideal, even if we all have a ways to go to get there.
Hopefully, like the rest of us, you just keep trying and you just keep learning.
That's what counts in the end. So good luck. Thanks for spending your time with us.
To help you remember and to clarify the things we've been talking about, your company has produced 3 very important documents. The first is called Workplace Harassment, the Basics. It's short and to the point about the basics of harassment, reporting harassment, and investigating harassment. The second document is your company's anti-harassment policy. It goes into more detail about what defines harassment, what your responsibilities are to report it, and what to do if you feel you are being retaliated against because you did report it. The final document is your company's specific policy on sexual harassment. It defines that behavior and the zero tolerance policy your company believes in. All 3 are available from your supervisor or the Human Resources Department. So please take a few minutes to read them over. If you have trouble reading, please ask for help or listen as I read them for you now. Workplace harassment, the basics. Harassment is not always intentional and doesn't have to be intentional to be illegal. Men can harass men, women can harass women, women can harass men, and men can harass women. It's the behavior that counts, not the gender of the participants. A person can feel harassed even if he or she is not the intended target of the behavior. While not all harassing behavior meets the standard of illegal conduct, any workplace harassment is inappropriate and should not be tolerated. If you feel harassed at work or you are aware of incidents of workplace harassment, you have a right and a responsibility to address the situation. You may confront the harasser if you feel comfortable doing so, or report the harassment to your manager or an appropriate human resources manager. If you report an incident of harassment, the organization will conduct a fair, discreet investigation and appropriate corrective action will be taken. It is illegal to retaliate in any way against an employee for complaining about or reporting workplace harassment. The anti-harassment policy. Your company is committed to maintaining a work environment that is free from discrimination. In keeping with this commitment, we will not tolerate harassment of our employees by any supervisor, coworker, vendor, or customer of this company. Harassment consists of unwelcome conduct, whether verbal, physical, or visual, that is based upon a person's protected status, such as sex, color, race, religion, national origin, age, physical or mental disability, or other protected group status. The company will not tolerate harassing conduct that affects tangible job benefits, that interferes unreasonably with an individual's work performance, or that creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive working environment. Such harassment may include, for example, jokes about another person's protected status, kidding, teasing, or practical jokes directed at a person based on his or her protected status. All employees are responsible to help assure that we avoid harassment. If you feel that you have experienced or witnessed workplace harassment, you are to notify the human resources manager, your department head, or your supervisor. The company forbids retaliation against anyone for reporting harassment, assisting in making a harassment complaint, or cooperating in a harassment investigation. If you feel you have been retaliated against, you are to notify the human resources manager, your department head, or your supervisor. Your company's policy is to investigate all such complaints thoroughly and promptly. To the fullest extent practicable, the company will keep complaints and the terms of their resolution confidential. If an investigation confirms that a violation of the policy has occurred, the company will take corrective action, including discipline, up to and including immediate termination of employment. The sexual harassment policy. Your company fully supports laws and regulations designed to prevent sexual harassment within the work environment. Sexual harassment consists of unwelcome sexual conduct, sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and other visual, verbal, or physical conduct of a sexual nature that is a term or condition of employment. It is sexual harassment when submission to or rejection of such conduct is used as a basis for employment decisions such as hiring, scheduling, or continued employment. It is also sexual harassment when such conduct unreasonably interferes with an individual's job performance or creates an intimidating, hostile, or offensive work environment. Sexual harassment will not be tolerated and will result in disciplinary action, including possible termination. If you feel that you are being subjected to sexual harassment, promptly contact your immediate supervisor, your supervisor's supervisor, the human resources manager, or any appropriate corporate officer or company representative.